Now let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Play ball!
Arsenal draw 2 points in the title race. That game ended 1-1 at Fulham. Raul scored the first goal in the first half in 11 minutes. He got one chance and they scored the first goal. In the second half, the set-piece masters, Arsenal, equalized through a corner kick. They are good in this particular style of play. Everybody have been complaining. They call them now new era Stoke City, but it's what it is. They are perfected it and they are scoring with it. But they scored almost in the 90th minute, Saka, but Martinelli was marginally offside, so that goal was ruled out and that game ended 1-1. But okay, guys, if you look at that game, Arsenal dropping 2 points in this title race. They had a chance to close the gap to Liverpool because they didn't play yesterday because of bad weather. They cancelled the game, but they didn't play. So Arsenal had an opportunity to close that gap to 4 points if they have won this game. And they got only 1 point in the game. What do you make of that game in general?
For me, I wasn't satisfied, and I think every Arsenal fan out there will feel disappointed, and then, every Arsenal player will also feel hard done by the fans because, after giving the team 2 seasons of second place finish, they would hope that the fans would be as less disappointed with this result as they would be in other seasons. But then this is the reality of football. Fans have been supporting the team for over a decade and more, and then hoping that when this golden opportunity happens, that they will be able to pick it up and run with it. But unfortunately, the players are starting to feel some of the side effects of pursuing this thing so far for 2 seasons and then falling away at this season, because let's call it what it is. The last few games they've had without Odegaard was a falling away because they dropped a lot of points. And now that everybody is fully fit in terms of the key people, the key 20% that produce the 80% output, they are back now. But Arsenal are still struggling to pick up 3 points in matches. If you go back last season and check, Arsenal have scored fewer goals than they did last season, which means that while we are celebrating,
and they are considered more.
Yeah, while we are celebrating the dark arts, we are conceding more, and then we are not scoring as much as we used to. So I think Arsenal fans should be worried.
No, I know you keep talking about them buying a striker, but what do you make of this game? Arsenal dropping 2 points.
Good game, because everybody was complaining. I think earlier today, before the game ended, John was complaining about what's it called now, Partey, our Ghanaian brother, playing in the full back position. I don't see a problem with it though, but I just feel like he should have given. If I said this now, they'll say he's too young for this competition, he's too young for this challenge. He could have given a young man, Lewis Kelly, a chance in the right back or left back and send Timber to the right back.
Because if you look at that game generally, that right side, nobody was actually helping Saka to attack.
And you say this now, I say this, it worked to some extent when Zinchenko was an inverting fullback from the left. But Partey is an inverting fullback from the right. And it's not that Zinchenko didn't produce. Zinchenko produced a lot of numbers for Arsenal, but that is not the system of the team. The team has a system, and you don't have inverting. You don't have to play an inverting fullback. You see Ben White running forward to support Saka in that position, and when Saka loses the ball, they win the ball back in that offensive.
Because when they do it, one of the fullback is bumping forward, one is inverting, and even if you look at Zinchenko, even when he inverts, most times he crosses the ball. Whenever you give him the ball back, he wipes it in. But if you look at Partey throughout this game, he didn't want one cross. He didn't want cross because it's not his game. It's
a problem because when he inverts, his mind is, I'm inverting to be a defensive midfielder.
Yes,
I'm not inverting to be a fullback. I'm not inverting to attack. I'm just inverting so every other person can play the wild game while I balance the game from the middle. And if you see the way these people, they kind of closed out the gap for Odegaard to pick out passes. It's just one of those things. I think they've learnt enough.
John, what do you think? What do you think? Arteta is stubborn starting Partey. He talked about Zinchenko playing inverting fullback. They are fullbacks. Mm-hmm. They have the mind to still attack as a fullback. Mm-hmm. For example, if they pass him the ball, he either crosses the ball or changes the ball direction of the ball.
Yeah.
He's always doing that. But when you see Partey, especially in this game, even when he plays fullback, he hardly crosses the ball into the 18-yard box. That means he just recycles the ball, which is he kills Arsenal attack. In this game, he did the same thing. So, what do you think about Arteta and him insisting that Partey plays this right back?
When they say that if you don't do your due diligence before you buy a product, you are stuck with the after effects of what it produces for you. And Arsenal are stuck with a one-dimensional Arteta that has refused to adapt. Okay. Arteta is pig-headed. We've seen it 4 times already. The first time around was when he came in and he said that everybody in the squad that there is going to the first time when he came in and he made Havertz going to play in the midfield. That didn't work. It cost him the title the first time around. Second time around was when he moved this guy out of his position and started playing him at the right back position. What would they have taken Arteta? You have Tierney that is back from injury. Play him out on the left. Play Timber in his position.
Introduce him in the second
and
half.
then put no, not even introduce him in the second half. Put Partey in his position, because clearly it's clear for everyone to see that he's the fuse in midfield. Put him in that midfield. Put Julian in his position. You can play Kelly in that position, or you can play Tierney in that position. You can swap any of them out on that left position, because let's call it as it. Julian on that right back provides more for the team going forward than Partey there, because it's like if you are going to structure your team in such a way that you are going to activate the wings, then you need whoever is playing in that wing back position to be a conduit to get the ball to the wings. And we didn't see that in this game for Arsenal, because of course he was inverting into the midfield, and even in the midfield nobody was coming out to come and meet you. You were just cycling the ball to other midfielders, leaving the flanks empty. They didn't exploit it.
If you ask me, I feel like you play Partey in the right back, it's good to some extent. You play your defense the way it is. Listen to me. If I'm talking tactics now, you need to listen and learn. When I talk tactics, call me coach, so when I talk tactics, listen and learn. You play Partey in the midfield. Bros, you don't need Jorginho, because they are doing the same thing.
Bench and play Jorginho.
Back past Jorginho. No need to do very much. Partey is playing in the right back. He will play inverting role, so you don't need to overload, because now he playing as an inverting what's it called, fullback now, overloads the midfield. You have a Jorginho in that midfield. You have another guy in that midfield. You have a Rice in the midfield. Definitely, you don't need all of them. Now, maybe in the front line, you have this guy, Martinelli, starting. Trossard should be starting.
Trossard started this game.
I'm just saying they should be starting. These players should be starting. Now you have more of an attacking players. You get more attacking players. Then when Partey joins the midfield, he only has Odegaard and Declan Rice to support him with. You get why the rest of the other players can go forward and create chances and score goals. You get it will work that way, because when you now have the ball, you have an inverting fullback and you have three at the back.
But now look at this formation played now with Partey in the right back, and you take Jorginho off. Who comes into that midfield or the attack from the bench? Who comes in? Because like you already have people who are mobile in that midfield already.
Now if you're going to do a sub, definitely you're not taking out Partey.
My own is that Partey is the engine when it comes to the style of the way you move
when
around
you have
the ball.
When you have Partey in the match, you don't need to introduce a Jorginho in that same match.
But then what's the use of having Partey in that match playing in the right back position when we all know he's a liability on the right back position, because him playing that right back position, covering that lapse, opens up a hole in midfield that nobody can fill.
My own is that it doesn't help Saka in attacking, because if you look, Timber gives Saka options.
That's the liability I'm talking about.
For example, if Timber or White was around, if he makes that run, Saka can take away one of the defender and he can make
look at it now. When this guy inverts, he's there as the defensive midfielder. You're not playing the game with a defensive midfielder in this game. You get, because Partey is going to invert back to that defensive midfield role. You have a Declan Rice and Odegaard playing their position. Normally, Odegaard will help Saka well, while Declan Rice would help the other guy well, Martinelli. Now you see how he connects. Then the person in front will do his work. Why Saka connects the dot? It's just.
But now we have an extra Jorginho in midfield.
That's what I'm saying. Take him off. You don't need to do that match at all. The team is already complete.
Okay, let's talk about the first goal. The first goal by Raul. First shot on target. First goal. I think Martinelli. I think Saliba and Raya should have done better. Especially Saliba would have sliding tackle and get the ball. So you might argue that probably he did his best, but Raya didn't cover his space as well. I think he was running back towards goal when he took that shot and he was in goal.
For Maldini, he said, before you make a tackle, know you've already made a mistake. And I believe that 100%. Whenever you go for a run and you see that this player is going to beat you, you know you've already made a mistake, because you look at your back, you see players making runs behind you. And if you don't make contact, there's a pass going behind you. Then for Saliba in this one, if he had made that tackle, it would have been a straight red. No two ways about it, because I think it was the last man. If he had made that tackle, it would have been a straight red for him.
If there was contact with the ball, it would not have been a red. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
It's a big if. It's a big if, because Raul Jimenez is one of those players that you know is sneaky. Then I think I felt like he sets the perfect trap, but this person did not. The what they call it is a correspondence. the correspondence from Raya was not complimentary, because that was a perfect trap for the both of them to close out the gap and give Raul Jimenez 0 chances of scoring goals. But Raya did not correspond, so it was not his fault. And if he had made that tackle, because in his first mind, I need to make this run this way, so this guy doesn't have the option of shooting this way, then Raya should cover this angle, so he doesn't have the option of shooting that angle, and perhaps he will lose the ball in these certain runs. You get, and definitely he's not as fast as Saliba. So you know that with the run Saliba made and the run Raya is making, or the position Raya is positioning himself, definitely Raul Jimenez would have lost that ball. But Raya did not compliment the effort.
John, let's talk about the set piece passes. Now, Arsenal has perfected this, as I said at the beginning of the show. Arsenal has perfected this set piece. They scored a goal. This is the second game in a row they are scoring from set piece, and the third goal in a row they have scored, because in Manchester United they scored 2,
yes,
and they scored 1 again. They have perfected this thing, and again in this game they equalized with a corner kick.
At what cost though? Look at their record last season. They scored more goals last season, conceded less goals last season, without deploying the superpower. So it's like you have the superpower of flight and strength, but then anything that hits you, you die. What's the use of having those superpowers? So for me, I feel like this season, with all the dark arts and all the extra work they've done on set pieces, how come we haven't seen them score more goals this season compared to last season? So I feel like it was a hefty price to pay to take this superpower and put in the team.
It's only the superpower.
Yeah, because superpower.
They practiced it something. Practiced the play and perfected the play.
No, it's superpowers for John, because I feel like last season they scored more of these set pieces. They scored more of the set pieces, but they defended well. Last season they scored more goals.
But they scored more goals from actual goals, not set pieces. That's why I'm calling it a superpower.
Combination of the two, because I think last season they had more set piece goals than any other Premier League team.
It's actually
from set pieces they had more set piece goals than any of the Premier League teams last season.
It's up for debate.
Now then they had more goals, actual goals from open play. You get, but set pieces than any other Premier League team. Then they also had more goals from open play, which is okay. But this season they had more goals from set pieces and less goals from open play. I understand what John is saying about this now, but defensively they've not done a good job. You get, defensively they've not done a good job. And if they are doing a good job defensively, they need somebody up front as proficient as they were last season.
Okay, finally, guys, do you think Arsenal can win this Premier League? Yes or no?
If they sign a striker.
If they sign a striker, no.
A big no. In Igbo they call it no. Mba. They can't, because look at it now. January time is already gone. How many points will you be off the first place before you sign your striker in?
Not that much.
Okay, Arsenal dropped 2 points at Craven Cottage. That game ended 1-1. Raul scored in the first half, the first shot on target, first goal. But Arsenal with their dark art, the Stoke FC, I don't know what you want to call them.
Corner
FC. They again, in second game in running, they scored from a corner kick. They equalized. Saliba equalized that game. But Saka scored in the almost 90th minute, but he was ruled out for offside because Martinelli was marginally offside. So that game was ruled out, and that game ended 1-1. So let's see what Arteta and his boys, if they are going to be praying, let Everton do them a favor, at least take a points from 1 point, 2 point, 3 points from Liverpool. But if Liverpool win their next game, it becomes harder for them to win this league. So they are going to be praying. But let's see what Arteta and his boys will be doing till the end of the season.